Hey guys, new video here, and today we are going to react on the video called Visit America, the don'ts of visiting the US. So yeah, let's see what are don'ts of visiting US. I'm pretty excited about this video because yeah, we are going to find some differences and similarities today, and we will see if yes, some of the things will be actually similar to how it works in my home country. Okay, let's go.
Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're in Mystic, Connecticut, in a beautiful place here in the U.S. And today, what we have for you are the don'ts of visiting the U.S. Because anywhere you go in the world, there's things you should do, but there's also things you shouldn't do. And this video is going to just cover the U.S. in general, okay? And our first don't for when you visit the U.S. is don't touch the Americans. Look, Americans really like their personal space. It's like they have a bubble around them, and if you get too close to them, they feel very, 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 very uncomfortable, okay? So make sure you give them a little distance when you are there, you know, because I know when I go to Italy and Spain and stuff, be like, Mark, how's it going? All this stuff. And my American friends sometimes go, wow, they're really, really affectionate. Like, that's just how it is. Here, space is key. The second don't I have for you.
I would say that Slovaks don't really like physical contact too, mainly with like people that they don't know. About us, like Central and Eastern Europeans, we are cold, that we are pretty cold and unfriendly, and we are not smiling. And I think it's yeah, that's definitely true that we are like this sometimes, and it's same with our personal space. That I would call this similarity. We are not really gonna hug someone we don't know or we never seen or whatever, or just sitting too close to someone, right? And even when we sit, when you need to sit somewhere in the train station, and there is only one uh, bench without people, but someone will sit there sooner than you, it doesn't mean that it's you can't sit there, right? But you will sit literally on the opposite side of the bench. You never sit directly next to someone, or people sometimes do that, but if you understand me, you will never get into the personal space of person most of the time. You always have like some distance, even when you are sitting with a random person on the same bench. Or for example, I was in this coffee at our main train station in capital city. Check out the video, it will be in the description below, where I went to Brno, and I experienced there something like this when there was one person in the table, but the table was for like 4 person or 5 person, like big table, but only one person was sitting there. The people will go towards to you, and they will ask you like, can I sit here? Right, everything, all the other tables are full. Can I sit here? And you can say no, or you can say yes. It's on you, right? It's your decision. You was there for first, but yeah, there is always some kind of the personal space, even in my country. So I would find this similar and almost the same. So this would be easy for me, like this rule or don't, right? Because I would never do that in my own country. So logically, I would never do that in the US.
Is don't count on public transportation. Look, when we were in China and we were in throughout Europe and South America, we took buses and trains and planes and all kinds of stuff to get all over the place because public transport is really developed. Here in the US, you cannot count on public transport to get you a lot of places. Yes, in big cities like New York and Chicago and stuff like that, you can get around with public transport and it'll take you where you want to go. But a lot of towns, small towns especially, and middle-sized cities, the public transportation networks are not very good, and at night sometimes it's not very safe. So that is kind of a frustrating thing. So yes, you're going to probably have to rent a car when you come here, okay? So just have a heads up for that. And that kind of leads into the next don't I have for you.
Like US is carnation, but I want to just say that there are some part of Europe where you can't rely on public transport, and there are within even regions in the country, or in your own country or in my country, where you can't really rely on public transportation. And mainly during weekends, it is very very problematic to travel from like smaller villages to bigger cities, uh, or it's even harder to travel outside of the country on weekends. For example, it was always like tricky to get to school during the weekends. My father always had to take me to the train station in the next village. Um, so I was able to get to the international train, because without that it would be much more complicated, right? So but during the mainly during the week, it's okay. It's really good, and even in the cities, it's at least, even the smaller city has some kind of bus transportation, at least few bus lines, or sometimes the like intercity buses, like how it's called, regional buses, whatever, right? They are sometimes work as a public transportation in a city, like a combination of those two. So yeah, so it's much more reliable, I would say, in Europe, but there are some like public transportation deserts too in Europe.
You is that is
So yeah, for me, as someone, I do have a driving license, but I don't drive a car, so it would be much more tricky for me. I would have to get used to it again, to driving a car in US. But thankfully, most of the cars in US are automatic or automats, or so it would be much more simple for me. Uh, yeah, like manual cars are big no-no for me. Even when I did my driving license with a manual car, it's always like hell to sit in that car and drive that car. I just don't like that. But a lot of Europeans will tell you that manual is the best. We love that. We or they feel like the racers ride with the manual. I don't know.
don't underestimate the size of the U.S. The United States, it's continental U.S. is like continental Europe. It's huge. I mean, would you think of driving from I'm going to do go to from Lisbon to Paris and then go up to Tallinn and then head down to Sofia? No, you're like that is insanely far. It's the same thing when you come to the US. I meet a lot of travelers that are like, oh, I'm going to fly into New York, grab a car, drive down to Miami to see Miami Beach, and then head over to LA. I'm like, dude, you got 2 weeks? You're going to spend the entire time in cars. The distances here are insane. So what I recommend is picking a region. So, we're going to stay here in New England and see New England. Or we're going to go in the southeast, go to Atlanta and Savannah and Charleston, things like that. Or visit the West Coast. You do that to get a better idea of the culture there and things like that. But also, it's just the logistics things because it's so far between the places. And to go along with that, for Americans, a 3 to 4 hour drive, that's a day trip. Like my parents live 3 hours away. I will literally get up, go drive, have lunch with my mom, and then drive back home just for lunch. 6 hours in the car. No big deal. It's about 7 hours when we start to think, that kind of is a long drive. And we drive the entire way through. Okay, this isn't like, I must stop every 2 hours and have a 15-minute break. Oh, no, no, no. No, no, no. We drive all the way through, okay? Now, my next don't for you when you come here is
Maybe I will just add to this that I don't know how. I understand this is a don't, but it's I would say better. I would call it like advice. Don't do that. In Europe, in Austria, they have like a lot of night trains, which is awesome because you can get in like 12 hours to totally different part of Europe, right? And you will just wake up in the morning. You are all fresh most of the time from train ride. And sleeping in the train, you will wake up all fresh, and you can start your day in the new city that is, I don't know, 1000 kilometers away from where you board the train, right? um it is not always like doable, this kind of the travel, right, with night trains, but it is possible. So I know that a lot of people traveled like a lot of regions in 2 weeks, and even with the trains and doing this like night trains. So during they were traveling during the night. But yeah, in the US, when you have to have a car to travel these long distances, it may get more tricky, because yeah, you need to at least you need to be driver, and you need to have at least like some more people that will drive to just change in front of steering wheel a few times, so you will not get like you will not get all sleepy, and so yeah.
don't think that the sticker price is the end price. Look, in the US, we have sales tax. I know other countries, they have VAT, value added taxes. They're already put into the price of products. So when you see, oh, it's $1 or €1, oh, I only pay €1. In the US, it is not like that. We have sales tax, so a certain percentage is added onto that product. And the thing is, I cannot tell you what the sales tax will be where you're going to travel because it's different everywhere. Cities, states, counties, different products have different sales taxes, and some products don't have sales taxes. Some cities don't have sales taxes. Some have 10% sales tax. It can be different anywhere you go. So if you're gonna go get your dollar menu item at a McDonald's or a Culver's or a wherever, it's not gonna be a buck. Where I live, there's two cities right by where I live. One, it's going to be $1.08. The other one, it's going to be $1.09. So be ready for that. And it's not just the sales tax. Also, there could be the tipping on top. And that leads us into the fifth don't, and that is don't forget to tip.
Yeah, with the sell proxies, that could be, for me, that could be very annoying because everywhere where I travel in my life, right, it was always in the price of the um it was on the price, like the whole price, even with like tax, was on the price tag, right? So this is big difference. I would have to get used to it, but I don't know. I don't know. I still feel like it would be easy for the store to just have it like that. With I don't know. I don't know. That's the decision of the people, I would say, or I don't know.
Look, in the US, you tip 15 to 20% at a sit down restaurant, okay? Now, McDonald's, stuff like that, no, you don't tip at a fast food place, but if it's a sit down restaurant where they bring you your food and stuff like that, you will tip them 15 to 20%. If you are in a group,
But I know in Slovakia, in Czech Republic, in Austria, they bring you your food to table in like McDonald's. They do that. So still no tipping. Like I don't know if it works like that in the US, but in a lot of countries I was in Europe, they brought you the food to your table. So then, do you tip or not? Because I understand the tipping culture in US. I understand why it does exist. It makes sense with those terrible paychecks they have. But still, how this would work? And I still think that I guess there is always, I don't know if in the fast food is, I don't know how old this video is, but I don't know. I understand, totally understand why there is a tipping culture in restaurants. But that would, for example, my parents, they would be like very surprised, like paying 20% on top of the bill, right? I don't think they would do that. They, I don't know.
group of 6 people or more, sometimes they automatically put the gratuity on there, which sometimes can be 18% or something like that. Look, when you come to the US, there's a reason why.
Like we definitely tip in Slovakia, but it is sometimes only like, I don't know, you paid like 17 euros and 20 cents, and we will tell them 18, and that's the tip. Yeah, or if the food is really good, and they will tell you like, I don't know, like 45 euros, and you will pay them like, and tell them if you are paying with credit card, you will tell them like 50, or you will tell them if you are paying with the banknotes, you will give them like 50 euros, and you will tell like it's okay, right? And that's the tip, right? But there are some people that just straight will give you like 20%, right? Some people that want to tip like 20%, they will tip 20%, but it's not as common, I would say, in Europe, or at least in Slovakia. It's usually like, I don't know, few crown, few euros on top, but not like 20%, or sometimes it is. Hard to say. The whole tipping culture and the tipping culture in the world is like so different, right? So, and every country has a difference. Mainly, maybe even regions have it like different. So when I was watching the videos about the tipping cultures, it was always like one big mess because every video was slightly different.
Why the food is like so affordable. You're like, wow, it's cheap to go out and eat in the US. It's because there's kind of this understanding that the service fees and paying for the workers and the waitresses and stuff like that, that goes on to you, the person eating there, with the tips. So the food and stuff can be cheaper when you go out to eat. And I know a lot of people say, I don't believe in tipping, and this tipping.
I don't know. I feel like that the food in US restaurants was never cheap. I don't know. That's maybe because I was watching this TV show with Gordon Ramsay, right? How it's called? That was not Hell's Kitchen. That was a reality show, but you know the place where he went to check out the restaurant, and the prices in those restaurants were always like pretty high, right? For me, and I was kid when I was watching those shows, right, in TV. So it was like, and it was usually even like I don't know, 5 years after it was recorded, they premiered it in Slovak television, right, on some Slovak channels. So I don't know actually, like about how the cheap food is because in those reality shows, in those shows when they were he was like $20 for this meal, or you know, how can you sell this meal for $20? And I was like, okay, so it was not good in that show, it was expensive. I don't know. Right now in restaurants in Slovakia, you will pay for the main course in good restaurants around 20 euros, 20-25 euros or those are like really good one, like not the highest one but really good one. And average and higher average is like 12 euro, 10 to 12, 13 euros for main course, for soup like 4 euros maybe. Yeah, and the average restaurant you can get meal there for like 8 to 10 euros. That's, I would say, 11, right? So that's right now in Slovakia. It is this kind of price most of the time. Sometimes you'll find the cheaper one, but yeah, I remember the times when the main course was like in the better restaurant the main course was like 10 euros. Nowadays, right, with the tipping on the top, sometimes it can get pretty high.
Isn't the right thing. They should pay their people more. Well, if you want to pay more for your food, they can do that, but they don't. Okay, so tipping is something we do here in the U.S. So do tip that 15 to 20%. Oh, also, if you're at a bar and you're buying drinks, you're gonna want to tip a couple dollars here and there. Otherwise, the bartender might not be too quick to come back and get you your next drink. So following off of those tips, what you need to realize is our next don't is don't be freaked out by the over-the-top service and free stuff you sometimes get in the US. Look, because of tipping and commissions and stuff like that, yes, there is a lot of over-the-top service here. But the thing is, in the US, the people actually are pretty nice and they want to help people. And sometimes for some travelers, if they come from countries where people don't get a lot of service sometimes, it can be a bit much, so don't freak out about it. Also with that is don't be freaked out with some of the free stuff you get when you go to restaurants. Look, if you go to a restaurant and they bring you bread and water or chips and salsa and all those really good things, that's included in your meal. Okay, so if you're going to be buying something, they're going to give you some free stuff. It might be some bread, it might be a salad, it might be a water, it might be something like that. So don't be like shocked.
Like this sometimes happens in Slovakia, but most of the time it does not. Like no, like refills, for example, that doesn't exist. Some restaurants are really nice and they will refill you with like water. If you will ask for tap water, they will give you like tap water and they will refill. But some restaurants don't really want to do that because that's like, oh, that's money. I have to pay for the tap water. I have to pay for someone that will bring you the tap water in the glass. I have to pay for a glassware. I have to pay for cleaning the glassware. Why should it be for free, right? The water. So those are some like opinions, I would say, why some of the restaurants in Slovakia will not offer you a tap water, but there are the other restaurants that they will offer you tap water just like that because like it costs almost nothing. If you will eat there, it costs almost nothing for them, right? just bringing you tap water or refill the tap water. But yeah, still some restaurants don't want to sell you tap water or give you tap water for free or in the price of the food you are eating. So I like this on US. This is nice.
Like, wait, I didn't order this bread. I didn't order this salad. Oh no, that comes with your meal, okay? Now the thing is though, you can't just go in and get chips and salsa and walk out, all right? You actually have to order some food when you go there. Now my next don't for you is don't smoke cigarettes in the US. If you're smoking cigarettes in the US, people will look at you like you're trying to kill their baby. Cigarettes is like totally verboten, like people really frown upon it, which is funny because when they talk about marijuana and stuff like that, people don't seem to care as much. But cigarettes, oh, you're trying to kill my baby with that cigarette.
I don't smoke, so this doesn't apply on me at all, so
2 blocks away. So if you do smoke, make sure you try to find a place where you can smoke because a lot of restaurants, or pretty much all restaurants, hotels, stuff like that have smoke free. It's smoke free.
For example, in Czech Republic, every restaurant is smoke free. You can't smoke inside. There can be even like the room or the place for smokers. You can't smoke inside the Czech restaurants, which is, I think, the great thing. But in Slovakia, there is all some restaurants have like the like the room or the dining area for smokers sometimes. So yeah, they still have it somewhere in Slovakia. But I know that, for example, in Czech Republic, you can't smoke inside a restaurant or pub or wherever, right?
So you got to go like 15 to 20 feet away from doing things. So that can be something. So I've come here outside my favorite liquor store to give you the next don't. And that is don't try to buy alcohol unless you're 21 or cigarettes unless you're 18 or over in the US. They will not sell them to you. And the thing is, don't forget your ID because if you look like you're 40 or under, they may ask you for that, and don't get mad at them because if they don't ask, they could get in trouble and get fined. So don't be surprised because we've had friends that have come here, tried to buy alcohol, and they're like, sorry, you don't look old enough. Oh, I don't have my ID. Too bad. And the thing is, it's not just the person buying. They might ask anybody with you, so make sure everybody has their ID if they want to buy liquor or they want to buy, well, they want to buy alcohol or if they want to buy cigarettes. So just...
Okay, so if I am 21, I'm 23 actually, but yeah, and I go to the store with my 20-year-old cousin and I will tell them right there, the cashier, I want 8 beers. She's not going, or she or he or they are not going to sell it to me because with me there is with me like the person that is under the age limit, or how does it work? Do I understand that correctly? Because I guess you should not even, I guess, enter the liquor store in US if you are not over 21, right? Maybe there is some kind of, I don't know if there is an age limit. You can let me know in the comments for entering this kind of store. But yeah, interesting. Even the whole the rule that you have to be over 21 to buy alcohol. In Slovakia, you have to be over 18, and there is like zero tolerance of alcohol if you drive a motor vehicle. But literally, country next to me in Austria, they have age limit that from 16 you can drink wine and beer, and it's not problematic there, I would say. I think so. They don't even ask for an ID because if you look like around 15, 16, right? Or if they don't ask. If you look like really like you are over the 16, they are not going to ask you anything. Only if you would buy like liquors, right? They would ask. But I actually don't remember when I was young, that they would ask me on the Christmas markets in Vienna when I was 16, 17, something like that. They did not ask me for my ID. So yeah.
FYI on that one. Oh, that's also another don't I have for you is don't bother with a metric system when you come here. We don't use we don't use meters, we don't use kilometers, we don't use liters. It is inches, feet, miles, gallons, pounds.
Yeah, but when you are talking about ammunition, you are talking in metrics. Metrics. That's so weird, right?
Things like that. And I'll put a conversion.
Oh, I do have Arizona here. You can check that out, but I don't know if it is manufactured in US or I think that I don't know. Maybe it's in England. Hey, like I have this. I really like this Arizona. So this is like 22 FL. What does mean FL? That's mean like fluid ounces, right? So it's 650 milliliters. That's pretty good, and it doesn't cost 99 cents in Europe because it's like imported, so it costs like 2 euros for the can. But I like that this is more than half liter. That's really nice.
Chart here to show you, but honestly you may say, hey, how far is it to this next town, and they'll tell you, oh, it's like 60 miles. You're like, what's that?
For me, so that's so abstract. Like, if someone will tell me that it's like 6 miles, I'm like, I can't imagine how far it is. I really can't. And then I don't know how maybe it will be here.
uh,
That
Pounds, things
table.
like
1 mile is 1.6 kilometers. So if someone tell me like it's around like 10 or 11 kilometers, I will be okay. I
that.
can
And
imagine
I'll put
that,
a
but
conversion chart here to do that because the people here won't get it. I mean, I have people when I'll tell them, oh, it's 100 meters away. They're like 100 meters. It's like 100 yards. Oh, okay. So make sure you do know your imperial system, okay? Because metric, we don't do that so much here. So our next don't is when you
too bad. Too bad. That is the best system, I think, ever made by the people.
do come to the US, there's a couple things you don't talk about, okay? One is gun control, and two is politics, because no matter where you are, you will get people on either side of the spectrum, and they will have an argument with you. So it's best just to lay off those topics, talk about the weather. Oh, wouldn't it be nicer if it was sunny today and we could go sailing? Yes, that would be much better than discussing gun control or politics. Just putting that one out there for you right now. Now, my next note for you is
Yeah, I believe I would have argue, so I usually don't, even in the comments, I just don't want to start. If I will say anything like that Americans or people in US considered like sensitive, right? I'm sorry for that. Sometimes I will just say stuff, but I'm not going to argue with those people in the comments because, like he said, let's talk about the weather rather.
don't assume that all the US and all the Americans are the same. Because I know a lot of people say, oh, you're a typical American. Well, it's like saying you're a typical European. Look, the US has all kinds of different cultures, all kinds of different people, all kinds of different topography and scenery and stuff like that. And when you come here, don't assume it's all the same. You will see regional differences in cuisines and how people treat each other and how everything looks, all kinds of stuff. So don't just think there's just one kind of American. They're all fat, slobby guys with ponytails. No, there's actually a lot of skinny people in America too, not just fat guys like me and my buddy Jeff. There are those. So don't assume it's all the same, all right? So do go out and explore. And that's why I always say is if you're going to come to the U.S., go and explore different regions because you'll get a really different feel. Because going to the southeast and seeing the plantation homes and going to see the southern towns down there versus going to the northwest and Seattle and Portland or going to San Francisco or going to the Midwest with Chicago and Milwaukee, you're going to have a very different feel, which is really a cool thing to do. And you start to understand is, wow, the U.S. does have a lot of different cultures within it, a lot of different feelings when you go around here. And following on with that, I guess.
But I feel like that this is more like you can compare it to different region of France or different regions or state of Germany, right? That in some of those states, if you speak the regional dialect, you're not really able to, or the other Germans are not really able to understand to the dialect, right? So you have to speak like the German, right? The how it's called German that they are learning in the school, right? So I know that there are like different cultures in US. It's like the whole US, I would say, is the melting pot of a lot of different cultures, but I don't think that the differences are as big as, for example, between the uh, Portuguese and the Finnish people, right? Or I don't know, the people in the Bosnia and Herzegovina and in England. I don't believe that the differences are this big between the different countries or sorry, different states in US. But maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comment. Um, you can explain me this more there.
I would say another don't is don't assume there's no culture in the US because there are a lot of cultural centers out there. If you go down to New Orleans, you see a very rich culture there. You go to New York or Boston, here in New England, you have a very distinct culture. In the Midwest with Chicago, Milwaukee, you go to the West Coast. I mean, there's a lot of different culture here. Historic culture with the Native Americans or more recent culture here. I mean, you have all that here you can really take in. And saying there's no culture in the US, it's not really true because there are all these different cultural centers with great museums like the Art Institute of Chicago or the Met in New York, the Getty in LA. There's all kinds of stuff you can see and do when you are here. For a cultural trip, it's not just seeing beautiful landscapes and seascapes like we are here in Connecticut. There's a lot more to it than that. Now, my next don't for you is one that I kind of get a lot of questions about. We actually have a video on this, and then that is don't think that how are you or how's it going is actually a question. Look, when we say how's it going, how are you,
Yeah, I've heard this. I've heard this. So one don't for people in US. Don't ask this to Slovak or Czech people because they will tell you how they are, and it can bring you to not really comfortable situation because they can just tell you that they are not good. So yeah, it's not good to use this kind of the sentence if you don't want to hurt if you don't want to hurt about how they are.
these kind of things in the US, it's not a question, it's a statement. It's like saying hi. Okay, just take it as a hi. Because a lot of people say this, everyone asks me how I'm doing. When I try to tell them how I'm feeling, they're like, well, I was just saying, how are you? Here, how are you is just hi. Think of it that way. It's
Yeah,
like in France, ça va, ça va. How's it going? How's it going? We're good to go. In Portuguese, tudo bem, everything good. You answer back, tudo bem, everything good. It's just, how are you? How are you? You move on, okay? So don't think it's an actual question, all right? Now, another don't I have for you is don't
but sometimes we use that as small talk too. When I think about it right now, I met my former elementary teacher in the train, and we just didn't have the time to speak together. So I just asked her how her life going, and she just answered, "Good, good. I was on vacation," and then I say goodbye, and she said goodbye. So like I understand that it may work like that even in Slovakia, but usually you will use "How are you?" in connotation with that you really want to know how the person is. But yeah,
expect a lot at the fancy hotels. You know, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to pay more money for this hotel. I'm probably going to get nicer stuff like a nicer breakfast, better Wi Fi. Oh, no, 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 no. For some reason in the US, it seems like the nicer the hotel, the more you have to pay for the things you think would be free, like Wi Fi and breakfast. So don't feel like you have to stay at the fancy hotels, because honestly, if you're going to be going out and exploring, you just need a couple beds, right? So stay at the hotels in the US, and the cheaper ones will give you free Wi Fi, free breakfast, all these kind of things, which is really nice. So don't expect that from the fancy hotels. Another don't I have for you is
interesting.
don't skip out on the local food. Look, we're here in New England. We're here in Connecticut. We've been having
I like US food. I like it. I like how everything is fried, crispy, a lot of mayonnaise. No, no, no. I'm just stereotyping right now, but I really like how diverse it is and how they were able to make a lot of their variation from the food that immigrants and their families like brought to the US, and it just developed to their distinct style, and I really like that.
lobster and clams and oh my god, New England clam chowder. Oh, my tummy is just like more, more. It's fantastic. When I'm in the South, man, Southern fried chicken, mac and cheese, barbecue. Oh my god.
This seafood boil is pretty sad, I would say. It's like without the color a little
The
bit.
food in the different regions in the US are great. So don't just go to chain restaurants. When you go to your hotel, ask them, hey,
And this
what's
looks
some
good too.
local restaurants
Mm-hmm.
around here? What's some
Mm-hmm.
locally owned and operated restaurants? So you can go there and check out those places because they really give you a great experience. And I find a lot of times those ones actually have better service than the chain restaurants because it's a mom and pop place where the owner is the ones helping you out. And that is really kind of a cool thing. Now, my next don't for you is don't get sick. Look, healthcare in the US is insanely expensive. And just because you come from another country doesn't mean they're not going to find you for the bill. All right? So if you're going to be coming here, make sure you get travel insurance or trip insurance so in case you do get sick or you do break an ankle or you do break an arm or something happens to you, your insurance will cover it. Now you might have to pay it first and your insurance pays you back, but at least you'll get something back because healthcare here in the U.S. is insanely expensive. Okay, so make sure you're prepared for that. And I guess my last don't I'm going to have for you is one that people.
It is. We had a lecture, the English lecture from US, and we were describing how much we pay for a dentist, and he was just all amazed that when I told him that for a lot of Slovaks, the dentist is so expensive. When I said that, for example, repairing your teeth is like 100 euros, and he was like, "How much? That's good price." And I was like, "A lot of Slovaks can afford that," and he was like, "Oh, okay, but still a good price." And I'm like, at the end, I guess yes, like, you can save money for that more easily, right? Even other stuff, and universal healthcare is really helpful. It doesn't mean that it's for free. You pay every month for the healthcare throughout your employer, or if you are if you have your own business, you pay for it too. But for example, I'm still a student, and until 25 or 26, if you are over 26 years, the state will stop pay for your health insurance, and you have to either work or you don't pay for it, but then you have to pay for everything out of pocket, right? um you can choose you can choose the like the state health insurance company, I don't know how it's called in English, or you can choose the private ones. So you have like, I don't know, few options in Slovakia. I'm, for example, in private one, and it's, I guess, okay. There are different benefits between each other, uh, but um, but yeah, like it's free for you if you are a child or elderly person, or if you are looking, or if you got fired or you lost your job. Uh, for some time, the state again will pay for you this. But yeah, it's not for free. It's only for free for the children's, elderly people like in pension, and the people that are in need or they are seeking the job. And yeah, so it's like that's a good thing about it.
People actually got mad at me for when I lived in other countries when I told them the US has 50 states. And they said, no, the US has 52 states. Look, don't think the US has 52 states. The US has 50 states, okay? Just a heads up on that one. I'm sure
Okay.
that people are going to be commenting down below that when I was in school, they told me 52. No, there's 48 on the mainland, and then Alaska and Hawaii are 49 and 50, all right? So those are our don'ts for visiting the US. What are some of the don'ts you have for the US? Because I know there's more out there. I just want to get some of these out there to help out travelers heading to the US just so we can get things going. Anyway, if you like videos like this, we have stuff on what the don'ts of going to Russia, the don'ts of going to Germany, the don'ts of going to Brazil and things like that. And we really like helping travelers with honest travel advice. So if you like this video, do click that subscribe button. It means a lot to us, and we put new travel videos out every Wednesday and Saturday to help great travelers just like you. So I'll say bye from Connecticut and have a great time in the US,
Bye.
because don't worry, you will. It's a fantastic place.
Okay, so these were the don'ts of visiting the US. I learned a lot of new things. I found the similarities. I found the differences between my country or Europe, um, or the countries in Europe I was in or I visited, and the US. And yeah, like I guess good to know this because one day I plan to visit US, so I need to learn some of this stuff before visiting. It's always good to know how the things in the country works, and what to do and what not, what to do and what don't. Yes, and yeah, if you know any more don'ts, let me know in the comments too. Like I would love to read them, and yeah, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Goodbye, bye, ciao.